Xfinity, changing the way you experience TV.
Live from Center City in Philadelphia, this is Fox 29 News at 10.
This year could be one of the most violent years Philadelphia has seen in decades, adding an urgency tonight on National Night Out. It's about building connections in our communities, and clearly it is now more important than ever. I'm Shayna Humphreys.
And I'm Jason Martinez, and let's get out to Chris. I'm sure tonight took on a different tone in light of all the gun violence on our streets.
That it was, Jason, a scaled-back version of National Night Out happening because of COVID across different areas of the city tonight. But it is also happening behind a landscape of what is shaping up to be one of the deadliest years in recent history. Music, games, and lots of laughs on Cecil Street in Cobbs Creek tonight. But even the fun of National Night Out can't erase the reality of surging gun violence in the city.
Just last night, not too far from here, 54th and Willows, an 18-year-old was shot. It's sad.
Ebony Bell is a mother of 5, ages 6 to 16 years old. She wonders, make that worries about their future.
You can be sitting outside just like right now, minding your business, having a good time, and something fatal can happen.
Police say events like these, connecting with the neighborhood, is at least one of the answers of helping police reduce crime.
With the younger children coming up, they feel more comfortable being able to talk to a police officer, to come up and say hi, or, if they have questions they want to ask, just for them to build that trust with us.
But several we spoke with say it'll take more than face painting and handshaking to help build trust in police.
I ain't never gonna trust the police. What I really want to say, I can't say because we're on TV.
At the Night Out event in North Philly, police were handing out gifts to kids and gun locks to adults. With the gun violence epidemic and the anti-police sentiment, police recruiters were on hand saying there still is interest in becoming a cop.
When you actually talk to people and see that what their true values are, and the fact that they really do want to help people, I think it's not that tough of a sell. A lot of people still want to be a police officer.
Now tonight, as we were leaving North Philadelphia, police with the 6th District came to us, ran up to our news truck and said, "Chris, could you hand out our phone number because we want to hand out gun locks for free." They want us to give out their phone number. That phone number on the bottom of your screen, 215-686-3060 for a free gun lock. And they will, no questions asked. They say they don't care what it means as long as your gun is safe. One reason they're trying to curb the violence here, especially gun violence in the city of Philadelphia, Jason.
Yeah, whatever it takes we can stop sending out these awful statistics that we've been rattling off every night here on the news. Thank you very much, Chris. And of course, tonight's events, not just in Philly for National Night Out. Police around the area getting out to meet with families for National Night Out. In fact, this is Upper Marion Township. Officers traveled to several different spots throughout the night, offering food to neighbors and just a chance to talk.
If we begin to build relationships with the community members at a younger age, we can develop them over time to where we have a little bit more of a personal relationship with our community as they grow older.
Police say with the pandemic, the event had social distancing, everything wiped down, and everything was individually wrapped.
Breaking right now, Hurricane Delta, now a Category 4, is about to slam into Cancun in a matter of hours before it moves into the Gulf Coast. This is a look at the Yucatan Peninsula, where boat owners are getting ready. They're bracing for the impending hurricane. Kathy, Delta could be catastrophic.
That is the word, catastrophic, for the Yucatan Peninsula and Cancun with life-threatening storm surge. I mean, this is an enormous, obviously powerful major hurricane. We're looking at the satellite as the storm gets closer and closer to Cancun. It's only 180 miles east-southeast of Cozumel, Mexico, 145-mile-an-hour winds. It's moving west-northwest at 17. So we are expecting a landfall early tomorrow morning. right near Cancun as a Category 4 major storm. Then it will strengthen possibly in the Gulf of Mexico for a potential landfall in Louisiana. It could be very close to New Orleans. After that, all eyes on the remnants of the storm that will be moving northward, and we could be feeling the impacts by late Sunday into Monday. We'll talk more about this later in the broadcast.
Thank you, Kathy. A lot developing tonight on the coronavirus. Former Vice President Joe Biden says he does not want to debate President Trump again next week if the president still has COVID-19, while Trump says he does want to debate. Right now, it is still scheduled for next Thursday. Biden's campaign says the former VP again tested negative today. However, yet another top aide of President Trump has tested positive. His senior advisor and speechwriter, Stephen Miller, now has COVID-19, according to the White House. This as most of the nation's top military leaders are also in self-quarantine tonight. The Pentagon says the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and other military heads came into contact with the vice commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, who later tested positive.
President Donald Trump shut down negotiations between the White House and House Democrats over a new coronavirus relief bill. In a series of tweets, he instructed his representatives to stop talks until after the election. Meanwhile, Don, here at home, some school districts are still working on reopening safely.
They are, and here in the Upper Darby School District, they plan to bring students back on a staggered basis in the beginning of November, but there is some reluctance on the part of teachers to return.
I think our teachers have a right to be afraid in many ways. There's so much uncertainty out there, and the information's ever changing.
But the superintendent of schools in the Upper Darby School District says they have a solid plan to bring students back safely next month with hybrid instruction while also significantly reducing the student population. Example.
While there's 1,600 students at Beverly Hills Middle School, on a given day there's a little over 300 kids coming in at a time. So we're looking at between 4 and 9 students in a classroom at a time.
Masks and 6 feet social distancing will be required at all times. Still, the Upper Darby Education Association posting a long list of concerns on its Facebook page last night.
It's just my members overall are just concerned for their safety. They just don't know if the district's going to be able to provide everything they say they can.
Melanie Massiantonio says teachers are also worried about coverage. What if one of them calls out sick or gets COVID?
Because we have teacher shortages and we have sub shortages, we're going to have a whole nother issue with teachers having to go into other rooms with other children. I just think there's a lot of unknowns. It's just causing a lot of unease and unrest among the membership.
This mom is a bit nervous too, but feels the district is doing all the right things for her 11-year-old daughter to safely return.
Yeah, I feel they need the interaction to be around, other children, their friends, and the teachers.
Now, right now, teachers are set to return on October 13th. Students would not come back until November 5th through the 9th. And the district says that this is a work in progress and that they are trying to hammer out any concerns that teachers may have, and that this is a collaborative effort between the teachers and the school district. And I will say, Jason and Shana, both sides are working together to try to make this return go as smoothly as possible.
Well, that's good to hear. A work in progress. It's how we could describe so much in 2020. Thanks, Dawn. Penn State is canceling spring break. The university also announced it is pushing back the start of the spring semester and will continue its current hybrid model of in-person and remote learning. Developing now in Montgomery County, Ursinus College is investigating after a man walked into an unlocked room in one of the residence halls twice. The latest happened just this morning around 2:45 at Reimert Hall. The man was confronted by a female student and left. Nobody was hurt in either incident.
A local woman on a mission to end the violence and help others, hit by thieves while she was out at a rally. Seriously, Shawnette?
Yeah, unbelievable, Jason. Talia Taylor holds events every single weekend under her organization, City of Dreams, but she says what happened last weekend was a nightmare.
We were hosting an anti-violence event like we do every Saturday.
Talia Taylor, a longtime Philadelphia anti-violence activist, says last Saturday, while she was getting the community together for peace and voter education, this is video from the event, someone broke into her Germantown home.
I don't have nothing. We have nothing. They went through everything.
Taylor says a neighbor called her saying someone was ripping the screen off the front window of the home on East Haines Street. It's where she stays with these 2 young men she took in to help get them on the right path and stay out of the streets.
You see how we put the screen back, and you see how, like, right here, but all this was completely off.
Talia says they got home to find the house ransacked, personal things and furniture gone. She says the most important stuff, clothing and things she bought for 19-year-old Khalif DeWitt and 20-year-old Lee Jones, also gone. They were devastated.
One was crying, they were very upset. Just letting me know that everything was gone. Everything that we were working hard to make a home here, because we just moved in 3 weeks ago when I took them in. I just came back from Delaware and moved here to make a home for the kids.
Inside, she shows us jewelry left on the floor, a TV she says is damaged after it appears the person couldn't get it off the wall, and a door that was locked kicked in.
They knew what they were doing. Even as much as, and they know everything I do in the community.
Taylor says it's hurtful, but it won't stop her from doing what she does for the community.
Our next event was supposed to be down South Philly and then come up to Germantown, but instead this Saturday we're coming out here because I can't leave my home.
Yeah, very sad. So she says she's filed a police report. I did contact police. They are checking for me to see where the investigation stands. Meanwhile, Shayna, she has set up a GoFundMe page hoping to replace those things lost that she had purchased for those young men that she took in. You can find it, of course, at fox29.com.
No one deserves that, but especially not her. Thank you, Shawnette. A horrific crime in Montgomery County. Lower Providence police arrested this man, Austin Stevens, for allegedly sexually assaulting and killing his 10-month-old daughter. Officers found the baby girl, Zara Scruggs, unresponsive at her home Saturday night. An autopsy found she had been sexually assaulted and suffered blunt force trauma to the head. Police say they found suspicious Google searches on Stevens' phone.
With subjects that included: if baby stopped breathing, what if you don't hear baby heart or beat, my baby isn't breathing, and how do you know if a baby is dead?
Stevens is charged with several crimes, including rape of a child and aggravated indecent assault. A fiery crash on the New Jersey Turnpike, but thankfully some Good Samaritans happened to be passing by and they came to the rescue. Jenny, this is an incredible story.
It is, Shayna, and of course one of those Good Samaritans is from our area. I met him tonight. You'll meet him now.
Within seconds, a truck became engulfed in flames on the New Jersey Turnpike, and without hesitation, Jordan Reed of Delaware County jumped into action to save the driver's life.
The gentleman who was driving was fully on fire. His clothes were on fire. He was shouting, "Help me."
While Jordan's wife called 911, the local physician assistant with about a decade worth of EMT experience worked with another Good Samaritan to rescue the man from the flames. A passing truck driver supplied a fire extinguisher. Talk about a team effort.
I asked him, I said, "Can you breathe?" And there was this long 3-second pause before he answered as my heart dropped. But he finally answered. He said yes.
Jordan says in the minutes before emergency responders showed up, he and others on scene collected water bottles from drivers to help prepare the fire victim for treatment at the hospital.
And I knew that we had to cool him down with the degree of burns that he had, and he also had the chemicals from the fire extinguisher on him that I knew were going to worsen his situation. The location of his burns, including the face and possible airways, was of my greatest concern, and that's why I continue to monitor him.
The accident happened in the southbound lanes near exit 12 in North Jersey. Jordan happened to be passing through after a weekend in Connecticut. Somehow, he was right where he needed to be Monday afternoon to save a man's life.
One of the articles was calling us heroes. I just felt like I was that one guy that happened to be there, and if I hadn't been there, someone else would have done the same thing.
Jordan said that the other man who was assisting him was both a corrections officer and a firefighter, and that the two of them just worked together seamlessly to get the job done. Really incredible. State police say that the driver of that truck was transported to the hospital with serious injuries. No update on his condition tonight. Another driver involved in the crash was not hurt. It remains under investigation. Shayna, Jason.
Wow. Just an amazing story. Thank you, Jenny. Two people are in critical condition after a shooting in West Philadelphia. It happened tonight around 8:30 on North 55th Street. Police say one man was shot while in the driver's seat of a car. An 18-year-old who was a passenger was shot while running away.
Sky Fox over a deadly accident in northeast Philadelphia, where officers say just before 7, a man on a motorcycle hit the back of a car on Woodhaven Road. That guy was thrown off his bike and landed in the eastbound lanes, where he was hit by several cars. He died at the scene. A woman was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. That road's closed while police investigate.
In Bucks County, a former high school math teacher pleaded guilty to taking indecent pictures of female students and sharing them online. 27-year-old Francis Reppert admitted to pointing a camera up students' skirts or dresses while employed at Palisades High School in Kintnersville. He'll have to undergo a sex offender evaluation before he's sentenced.
The Eagles getting ready to take on the Steelers this Sunday, the first place Eagles, I might add, right here on Fox 29 in Pittsburgh. And Kristen, there will be fans, live fans, not cardboard in the stands.
Yeah, Jason, you stole my line. I was going to say the first place Philadelphia Eagles at 1-2-1 in the NFC East are going from 2D to 3D fans. Yes, for the first time this season, the Eagles will be playing in front of live human being fans in the stands. What a concept, guys. So it's not going to be Eagles fans, as you mentioned. No, this game is in Pittsburgh, so they will be Steelers fans, specifically 5,500 fans at Heinz Field starting this Sunday. It'll be interesting to see for sure if that small crowd can create a momentum change. And for the Eagles offense, once again, they'll feature these young receivers who will, be getting their first taste of fans in the NFL as well. And of course, Jason and Shayna, you guys can watch that Eagles-Steelers game right here on Fox 29 at 1 o'clock. Of course, we'll have our Fox 29 post-game report coming up right after. Still ahead in sports, we will break down the offensive threat that the Steelers present on the field, along again with their fans in the stands.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Kristen. Pennsylvania's crowd size rules are changing. They're relaxing for the most part, but Philadelphia leaders say don't get too excited. Here's Hank.
Go Birds! Grab a steak. Let's talk about it. Governor Wolf's new guidelines go by venue capacity. An indoor house like Wells Fargo could seat 3,750 under the new guidelines. Outdoors at the Link, twice that, 7,500. Lunchtime fans at Tony Luke's are ready to roll.
The virus is going to happen. If people are scared of it, don't go to the games. But I'm ready to see some Eagles games in person. They clearly can't play that well without us there. So, we gotta be there and root them on.
Granted, we're a really populated country, but even still, we should just open up and let it rip. That's what I say.
Thing is, city officials like Health Department Commissioner Dr. Tom Farley are saying otherwise, at least for now.
We will review the guidance and we will announce what the new policies are for Philadelphia at this press conference next Tuesday.
Philly's maintained its own course through the COVID, often embracing stricter guidelines than the rest of PA, and has been one of the safest big cities COVID-wise because of it. The mayor explains that you can't compare Philly to farm counties.
So when the governor and folks are getting pressure from legislators and others to do certain things and to kind of open up more, it's coming from areas that aren't experiencing the type of infection that we're experiencing. Even Pittsburgh's, I think, half our size. So you can't apply one standard to Tioga County that you would apply to Philadelphia County.
The mayor adds that he'd rather go slow and get it right than go fast and have people infected. And it leaves a lot to think about. Will capacities open here, or does the city wait? That could happen. And if it does, will they open up the streets for safe tailgating around here if there is such a thing? And for all you people outside the city of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, high school football this Friday night, will you do it safely? The questions. In South Philadelphia, Hank Flynn, Fox 29 News.
We are one day away from the vice presidential debate. Tomorrow night, VP Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris are set to face off at the University of Utah. They'll be separated by plexiglass to reduce the risk of spreading coronavirus. You can watch the debate right here starting at 9 p.m. A woman on her way to work when a man throws some type of chemical in her face, leaving her with severe burns. Who would do that?
And there is Delta. The Cat 4 hurricane is headed for Cancun. Then it's on to the U.S. and the Gulf Coast. A woman was just leaving her house this morning when police say someone walked up and threw a chemical in her face. She is out of the hospital tonight, but police are trying to figure out who would do such a thing and why. Here's Dave Schratweiser.
I heard screaming.
Those screams broke the early morning quiet in the 5100 block of Newhall Street just before 6:30 Tuesday morning. That's when police say a 61-year-old woman on her way to work headed down her front walk and was quickly approached by a man and attacked.
The male threw an unknown liquid in her direction, striking her in the face.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
The victim let out a loud scream, alerting her daughters inside and several of her neighbors, including Dorothy Hannibal, who lives right next door.
She's a nice neighbor. She's a good neighbor. She works and she takes care of her kids.
It's crazy. I just found out it happened to her. And I said, "Oh, you kidding me?" I thought it was some random woman or whatever.
The victim was raced to Temple Hospital in critical condition with burns to her face and eyes. The chemical attack brought police flying to the scene, including the city's counterterrorism unit and the major incident response team. The fire department hazmat unit also arrived. Detectives looked for video of the suspect and searched for a motive.
No type of incident between them, no previous exchange, no problems with anybody, just a complete random incident.
As the victim's family huddled nearby, declining to comment, neighbors had nothing but kind words for the victim.
I hope she'd be all right. I hate to lose her. She's a good neighbor.
Police are searching for surveillance video of the suspect in the neighborhood, and they have upped police patrols in that area. They say the suspect had dreadlocks and may have escaped in a black vehicle. Dave Schratweiser, Fox 29 News.
You know her as the head of the coronavirus task force. Dr. Deborah Birx stopped in South Jersey today. She spent her morning at Rowan University in Glassboro. Dr. Birx has spent the last few months touring different colleges and universities in 30 states, talking about how schools can protect their students and staff during the pandemic. Dr. Birx says Rowan has the best signage that she's seen so far and says the university is already talking about the spring semester and how to keep case counts down.
Also hearing from the student body, what do they find most annoying? Because, obviously after 3 months of doing something that's annoying, they may not be as willing to do it the next 3 months.
Dr. Birx asked all students across the U.S. to please keep following the coronavirus guidelines to stop the spread of coronavirus.
Doing good in the neighborhood. A South Jersey guy is making desks for kids who are learning at home. We're following breaking news right now. Hurricane Delta is barreling towards Cancun. Then after that, it's headed towards the Gulf Coast states. Kathy is looking over all the latest models, and she'll join us in just a few minutes.
Deadly shooting after deadly shooting. The coronavirus is not the only thing plaguing the city of Philadelphia this year. There's also the ridiculous amount of violence that's happened this year in our city. In fact, yesterday, the city passed last year's total homicide rate. And it's only the beginning of October. You still have a few more months. And today, the police commissioner condemned the violence. Here's Jeff.
At a takeout at 54th and Willows in King Sessing, crime tape is a grim reminder of the bloodshed and the grief.
Even if he was guilty of something, he still didn't deserve to die. That was my little brother. I love him so much.
A 19-year-old man was shot 6 times inside the shop overnight, say police, killing him. Investigators searched the corner for video just after the police commissioner spoke of the city's 363 homicides, topping all killings in 2019.
We are only one component of the criminal justice system. And the notion that the police department alone can cure the pandemic of gun violence is not only erroneous, but it absolves other stakeholders of their duty to participate in the solution to this public health crisis.
Outlaw says in the last 28 days, homicides dropped 10% under the prior 28. Proof efforts at pinpointing violent places and people is working.
Mayor, do you think the police department is doing an adequate job to combat gun violence in the city?
I think the police department's doing everything that they can do. I think our officers are on the street bravely every day facing well-armed criminals.
The mayor railed at the flow of crime guns while Outlaw pointed to repeaters.
What we're seeing is a pattern and a trend among those shooting victims or offenders who have history for similar types of crimes.
Back on the block, activists gather to talk it over.
The fathers that are not around, the mothers are not around, and it's like we're making babies just to destroy our babies.
Jeff Cole, Fox 29 News.
Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner joined community leaders today to address the city's ongoing problem with gun violence. He says he wants to assure everyone they are doing everything in their power to stop it. He says that includes programs to partner with police, focus on gun crime intervention, and address the root causes of violence, like unemployment.
We are here to say that whether we are activists and organizers, whether we are elected officials, whether we are in law enforcement directly, or whether we just care about our communities from so many different perspectives, this is unacceptable. And that anything and everything that can be done by government and outside of government will be done.
There are also programs available to help the families of gun violence victims.
Police in Smyrna, Delaware say persons of interest are in custody connected to a child's remains that were found in the Little Lass baseball fields on Duck Creek Parkway back in September of 2019. Investigators believe the remains belong to a girl who was between the ages of 2 and 5 years old. The individuals are now in custody in another state, and Smyrna police are working with the FBI on the next steps in this case. A Texas police officer has been charged with murder in the shooting death of an unarmed black man. 31-year-old Jonathan Price was shot and killed Saturday night outside a gas station. Now, investigators say Officer Sean Lucas responded to a disturbance call and attempted to detain Price. They say he resisted in a non-threatening way and started to walk away. Lucas then tasered and shot Price. Price's family says that he was just trying to break up a fight.
Philadelphia's health commissioner says don't listen to President Trump when he tells people not to be afraid of the coronavirus. Before leaving Walter Reed Medical Center yesterday, where he was hospitalized with the coronavirus, President Trump tweeted, "Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life." Well, at a briefing in Philadelphia today, Dr. Thomas Farley said he really begs to differ.
You should be afraid of the coronavirus. I strongly disagree with the president on this one. The coronavirus has killed more than 200,000 people across the United States of America and killed more than 1,800 people here in the city of Philadelphia.
Dr. Farley also says we need to keep wearing masks and that testing is not a substitute for wearing a mask.
How's this for a good neighbor? This Camden County man making desks for students learning from home. For goodness sake, here's Bill Anderson.
I think that when you do something nice for somebody else, it makes you happy.
It was funny to me hearing Justin Foley describe feeling good about helping others as partially selfish, because honestly, that definition of selfishness, I think we can all support.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that selfishness going on for me, that it's like, hey, I'm helping people, but it's also, it's like, I'm helping people. You know, like I never thought of that before.
I spent the afternoon with Justin in his home wood shop after someone called us wanting to thank their Woodcrest, New Jersey neighbor who had been quietly making and donating desks to students who needed them because of virtual schooling. It started with one.
Put it out here on the sidewalk, posted it up on our Facebook group for the neighborhood, said, hey, it's here if anybody wants it. About 10, maybe 15 minutes later, it was gone.
He was shocked and yet motivated by the response, so he kept going.
Yesterday, I had some time on my hands. I'm like, I'll just knock out a few more. So I made 3 more and put them at the front, and they were gone in about an hour.
And while we talked, he made a couple more and explained the response of gratitude and frankly need. It just opened his eyes to how different our society is now and how each of us may be able to help.
And now that I can actually build something and give it to other people that they can use, I'm like, this is fantastic. Why would I not do this?
The thank yous online have inspired others to offer to help. Those who can't build have offered to donate money and supplies.
My answer right away was no. I don't want it. It's not why I'm doing this.
But he is doing it. And Justin's kindness has seemingly inspired something in his neighbors and himself.
By the end of today, I'll probably get these 3 done, and I'll call it for the day because I got to mow the lawn. And then I'll probably get started on it after work.
It was a pleasure spending the day with Justin because he served as another reminder that I think, especially in difficult times, we need. That one, there is kindness and positivity all around us.
Put that first desk out, I got that little shot of, that felt really good, you know, that somebody saw something that I had done and they were excited about it.
And 2, we should all see what we can do. We just might like it.
Now I don't want to stop.
And so he'll keep going, for goodness sake. I'm Bill Anderson.
Wondering if your significant other is straying? Forget scrolling through their phone. There could be a hidden clue in their voice.
It's Fire Prevention Week, and SEPTA and the Philadelphia Fire Department want you to keep a few things in mind, like fire safety in the kitchen. That's the theme this year. They say cooking is the #1 cause of fires and fire injuries. Information cards with fire safety tips will be placed inside all SEPTA buses, trolleys, and trains this week. The fire commissioner says during the pandemic, more people are cooking at home.
I think this theme is very apropos for this year. We really want folks to be careful in the kitchen. Cooking is always a leading cause of home fires, and especially this year, as a lot of folks rediscover their kitchens.
This year, 22 Philadelphians have died in fires, and almost 2,000 families in the city have been displaced.
The greatest rock and roll guitarist to ever live is gone. Eddie Van Halen has died at the age of 65. His son Wolfgang confirming the news tonight. Heartbreaking and shocking to so many. He'd been battling throat cancer for a very long time, but a lot of people didn't realize that it had recently spread. The band Van Halen, of course, led by frontmen David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2007. In fact, it was Gene Simmons of Kiss, actually, who discovered Van Halen at a small club in the 1970s and gave Van Halen their start, and the rest, of course, is history. Now, Eddie's guitar solo in Eruption is considered one of the greatest of all time. This video you see here of that solo has been seen over 8 million times on YouTube, shared all over the world, and of course, tonight on social media shared too as people paid tribute. This loss hurts not only because a legend is no longer walking this earth, but if you're around 40, 50 years old like me, a piece of your childhood died today a little bit. With that one stroke of a pick, Eddie and his iconic Frankenstein guitar created this nostalgic sound that became imprinted in our souls forever. And today when we hear this music, we're taken back to that place once upon a time where we first heard it. The name Van Halen is rock and roll because of Eddie. Guys wanted to be him, kids put Van Halen stickers on their notebooks. Guitarists tried to play his licks, but nobody could replicate Eddie. So I hope he's up there jamming with Neil Peart tonight. Eddie Van Halen, dead at the age of 65. We'll be right back.
Many businesses are facing uncertain futures because of the pandemic, and that could leave shoppers with gift cards holding the bag. Fox's Jody Goldberg lays out your options.
It's hot cash in my hand, so out it goes.
Don't let your gift cards go to waste, a sentiment shared by shoppers and experts who say in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, it's important to spend the money sooner than later.
In the last couple of years, we have seen a lot of legacy retailers fall, but this year it seems to be worse than ever, and I think this is really only the beginning.
Smart shopping expert Trey Bosch says shoppers should pay close attention to stores that are closing and make sure to spend any gift cards they may have there first. first.
Shop with it. If the store is still open, if the store is closed, check online to see if they have their website still operational. Use it there or try to sell it.
Websites like Gift Card Granny or Cartpool offer consumers a way to sell unused gift cards for cash. Experts also say if a store is going under and you plan to shop there in the final weeks, you can try to buy a gift card on the sites for a discounted price.
The good news for the consumer is that if a store is going out of business, they will have huge sales. They're going to be trying to offload as much merchandise as possible, so you can save quite a bit and use that gift card.
According to the American Bankruptcy Institute, about 3,600 companies filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the first half of the year, more than any year since 2012.
I do spend it right away if I get it because chances are you'll forget.
I usually get some from like Target and I go spend it right after.
They definitely, get squandered and lost all the time. It's probably how businesses make a lot of money too.
Officials with Nassau County's Office of Consumer Affairs say gift cards are a form of cash, and shoppers left with them have little to no recourse if a business closes. Jody Goldberg, Fox News.
Trending right now, Dolly Parton may be preparing for a return to Playboy. Yes, you've heard me correctly. During a recent interview, the country icon said she might celebrate her 75th birthday in January by posing for the magazine if it's in, quote, good taste. Parton says it would be a hoot to return to Playboy more than 40 years after this, when she was on the cover back in October of 1978.
A hoot. I bet she looks amazing. Well, hey, it turns out men with deeper voices are more likely to cheat. Researchers say men with deep voices are 4 times more likely to cheat on their significant others. Researchers say they have higher testosterone levels, and those men tend to have promiscuous behavior. The study, published in the journal Personality and Individual Differences.
You see, I don't agree with that story because I just don't think you should judge a man by his voice. But, whatever the study says.
I feel like this is one of those stories we could have predicted. The alpha, the manly, really deep voice. Sure, not
Bad
surprising.
News, yeah, don't trust him.
All right, moving to Wilmington, Newcastle County tonight. Perfect
Is it blurry?
out there. It's a little blurry,
I think I need to put my glasses on.
But it feels nice in person. However, it's a different story other parts of the world. A Category 4 hurricane is churning in the Gulf right now, and it is moving towards the U.S. Kathy has your forecast for you in 15 seconds.
Life's full of little accidents, and Hyundai Tucson's lane keeping assist can help make sure they stay little.
Lease a Tucson for $169 a month or get 0% APR for 72 months plus no payments for 90 days. Hurry in today.
As Shana mentioned, all eyes on Hurricane Delta, a Category 4 major storm expecting to bring life-threatening storm surge to Cancun. Let's get right to it. We'll show you the latest path. We're watching the storm with 130-mile-an-hour winds moving west-northwest at 16 miles an hour. The remnants of Tropical Storm Gamma just moving away from Mexico, and this storm is moving in. On the track of the storm, it will be moving tomorrow morning over Cancun with potential for life-threatening storm surge and also catastrophic results with a lot of rain and obviously battering waves and wind. Then the storm is expected to go back in the Gulf of Mexico and make a landfall around Louisiana. Yes, Louisiana again. 6 to 10 inches of rain potentially across the entire state of Louisiana, up through Mississippi and Arkansas, extending westward toward Houston. This is going to be a tremendous problem, and it torrential downpours with an immense impact. As we watch the track of Delta, you can see in the Gulf all of this rain moving toward Louisiana. This storm most likely making landfall early Saturday morning as a major Category 3 storm, maybe close to a Category 4, and then all the remnants moving northward by Sunday evening. We'll start to see some showers in the outer bands by then, but more likely seeing that rain into Monday as far as our weather is concerned. Overnight tonight, low temperatures will be in the 40s and the 50s. During the day tomorrow, a warm-up with southerly winds gusting to about 30 miles an hour. So you'll notice during the day those winds will be picking up, but high temperatures well into the 70s. It will be a warm wind, so warm that temperatures jump 20 degrees from the morning into the afternoon, and that's a big swing in temperature this time of year. On your 7-day forecast, some morning fog, sun, and wind in the afternoon. 78 for tomorrow. Thursday cooling down to 67. Friday 68. Saturday 74 with increasing clouds. A few showers late Sunday, those outer bands of the remnants of Delta. And of course, we do have game day. The temperature 70. More showers likely on your Monday, 66, then Tuesday, mix of sun and clouds, 71. There you have it, guys. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. Jason, I want to hear that high-pitched voice again.
Hey, thank you, Kathy, because I'm trustworthy. Thank you. I mean, my goodness. All right, thank you very much. And Kristen, you know, now that the Birds are in a winning streak here, they need to get healthy.
Yeah, they definitely do, Jason. It's baby steps at this point of the season. So the Eagles are headed to Pittsburgh this Sunday and will play in front of fans for the first time this season. Coming up, hear from the Eagles on the challenges on the field that the Steelers present.